She kissed a younger man at a party, then discovered he was her new boss's son. Jenna walks into a club with her amazing friends trying to get her mated, but before they could get to it, she was recognized. She went through the most public breakup ever seen. And for a year, she was completely broken, not leaving her mother's home. But because of her presence, her mother was experiencing some discomfort. "Your father won't touch me while you're here. He's afraid you'll hear us." She made a hard decision to leave because it was time to face the world again. And this party was a celebration of that new life until she was rudely interrupted. She left the center stage of the club standing at the window to take in this beautiful scenery, smoking to calm her nerves. But her calm was interrupted by this young man who was obviously half her age. But he was mature, making her feel special again. They ended up making out at this party, but her old age kicked in as she slipped during the session. She impulsively leaves as he tries to get her name. The night ended as she expected. She woke up in the morning looking terrible and her new boss could not be more dissatisfied. But she reassured her that she was fine until the young man walked in. The guy she made out with was the son of her new boss and she could not be more shocked. Jenna and Eric recalled the meet-up the night before as Jenna begged him not to tell her mom about this and he totally assured her of her secret. Jenny and Darcy had a complicated past. They were rivals in the fashion business, with Jenna basically kicking her ass until her divorce debacle, making her contract very disposable. Darcy gave her 6 months to turn this place around. And Eric was going to be her photographer. Eric shows up the next day ready to work as they visit this antique boutique to interview a fashion icon. But this turned out to be a total disaster. They pick a cab home and Eric denies a phone call, making Jenna react. Somehow this moment turns into an argument about exes and old people. Eric exits the car in the middle of the rain, leaving Jenna marveled at this act. But no matter how much Jenna tried, she could not get Eric off her mind and she had to find a way to work with him. The next day at the office, Jenna apologizes for her words in the car and Eric accepts, making them start a wonderful working relationship. They even realized as much as there was a great age difference, they loved similar things like old movies. Jenna ended up inviting Eric to a house for a party where she was going to be on a date and Eric was shocked at first, but he ended up accepting the invite. The evening was exciting as Eric arrived with his friends and Jenna's date arrived shortly after, a corny 50-year-old. He was losing terribly to Eric, who seemed to excite Jenna more than he did. The tension turned into a fight with everyone leaving. Eric stays back to spend more time with Jenna and Jenna expresses the kind of love she wants. An all-inspiring, mind-blowing love. The night was getting dark and Eric wanted to leave, but Jenna did not want him to go and they ended up having a good time. Eric comes to work excited the next morning with a cup of coffee and Jenna seemed rejuvenated. She had amazing ideas in the morning, ideas that were going to change the company. Eric was excited helping her implement them, but he was more focused on her than he was on the project. He could not help himself. The more they worked on the project, the closer they got. They couldn't take their hands off each other or their legs. Somehow Dari picked up on the vibe and their suspicions were reinforced by the image of them in the paper taken by the New York Times. Eric and Jenna saw the papers too, making Jenna worried how it looked. Her reputation was tied to the shop. If this didn't work, she was done. But Eric convinced her that what they had was real when he told her. And she could not help herself. But they were getting serious and she invited him over to her family thing. But unexpectedly, Eric X showed up to the gathering. Eric was being called out, but Jenna did not see it that way. She went to leave her mark on their conversation, which left Eric confused. It was so obvious she was jealous. Her friends looked upon this argument, which wasn't a good look for their friend. She did not want to be seen with Eric in the public eye, but she did not want to see him with anyone else either. Eric decided not to show up to work the next day, and Jenna wanted to do something about it. She went with her girls to go and fight for her man. She entered their luxurious penthouse and met Eric. She apologized for treating him like a sidekick and she wanted to take their relationship more seriously. Somehow their conversation led to a moment of heightened sensitivity as Darcy walked in on them. Darcy was broken by what she saw. Not only did Jenna still drop from her back in the day, but she also stole her boyfriend and now she was messing around with her son too. She was fired on the spot as she tried to explain they were in love, but Eric sat there in his manliness as he lost the ability to use his mouth. Jenna left their home crying and ashamed. A few months passed and she called Eric to reconnect. Eric met at a restaurant and she sprung the news on him. She was pregnant. Eric did not know how to process this. He never wanted a baby because his dad left when he was young and he ended up leaving the restaurant to think about this bombshell news. Dari shows up to her house and they have a conversation about her son and she welcomed them into the family. Dari was able to convince Eric to come around and he ended up supporting her at this major stage in her life. In the end, they celebrated accordingly as Jenna finally introduced Eric to the world as her man. But just when they thought love had won, she revealed a secret that changed everything forever.